Hey, what's going on, guys? Today I'm going to show you how to balance your spool. I've had a lot of questions on this. It's a lot easier to show you guys than try and tell you in a comment. No, I'm not going to take credit for this. Sonny Navarro, Team Rip and Lips, he showed me this about a year ago, and it's a great tip. I'm using a Berkeley spooling station here. I like 10-pound mono for my backing. Of course, you can use bigger line if you have it laying around. I like 10-pound the way my knot's a little smaller. Start off, go ahead and thread your line through your eye here. I like to tie it on the spool with an Arbor Knot. I have another video on my channel of the Arbor Knot, so if you guys can't see this one, check that one out. I'll try and zoom in a little bit to show you guys, but alright, you got you're into your line here. Like I said, I know I can see that's not showing up, but you guys will get the idea. Just definitely check out the other video of the Arbor Knot that I made so you guys can see it a little better. I'll go into the main line, pinch it off, grab the tag end and wrap it around the two lines that you got there, and grab the tag end and bring it through the loop you just made. Again, the video's not on this knot, so like I said, I'm just doing it kind of fast. I just make another regular knot here, and this knot will slip into that knot. Cut your tag end off. I like to make sure my knot's in the center. It doesn't really matter, but I like it in the center. Okay. And here's the first step in balancing your spool. What you want to do, you can see, I know it's going to be so hard to show up here. You can see my knot is right here. What you want to do is make a mark on the top of the spool of where your knot is, the way you know it's there. So what I'm going to do, I see my knot is right here in the center. I'm going to go right here on the top of my spool. Take a magic marker. You guys can see the black dot right there. And that's where the knot is on my spool, right there. So the point here is, when I tie on my main line, is to have the knot on the opposite side. Okay? I use these gauge blocks to determine how much backing I have on. I also did a video on that, so you guys can check that out. So now I'm going to go ahead and start spooling up my reel. That noise is just the spool here rubbing against this plastic on these little stoppers here. So by using these gauge blocks, I don't have to count turns, I don't have to eyeball it. I know when I lay this block here on top of the spool and it's even with the top, I know that's enough backing, and I'll have about 100 yards or so of 15-pound line. Let's check it. Got a little ways to go. So you guys can see now, of course the knot is hidden, and that's why you make that little mark with your magic marker on top, so I know right where the knot is. That should about do it right there.
Daddy, I go pee.
Hold on, man. Try to make this quick. I'm sure you guys just heard my little guy come in here and tell me he has to take a pee. So, okay. Now, you look on your spool, For me, like I said, I'm not going to do this right probably the first time. Normally I have tied a few times to get it completely balanced. So kind of look on your spool and see where your marker is. Okay, it's right there. It works best for me normally when it's down on the bottom here. And like I said, normally I try and get my knot right in this area right here. And normally it works out, having mono and having stretch in it. Sometimes you can pull it and get it to lay down where the knots are across from each other. So I got my main line here, using 15-pound Seaguar Invis X. I'm going to tie a double uni knot. I just try and make my knots about the same size. I got 15-pound and 10-pound, so I'll probably put 3 wraps on the 15-pound and put 4 wraps on the 10-pound backing. I also have a video on this knot, so I know you guys can't see this right now, so if you want to see how to tie this, definitely check out that video. Like I said, this may not work out the first time here, but you guys get the idea of how to balance your spool. You need these knots directly across from each other. And say you want to spool up your reel with completely with 10-pound line here. You don't want to put any backing on. Then maybe halfway or so, you want to tie like a piece of thread or a piece of yarn or something in there to get you 2 knots. The way it's balanced out. You don't want too much weight on one side of the spool. But I normally always put backing on, even if I use mono as my main line, I'll put a cheaper mono on its backing. That way I can save more of my good line. Yeah, you can spit on it. I got some real magic here. Sweat the line so it doesn't burn. Drag down there. Make sure your knots are nice and tight. Okay. Cut your tag ends off.
Daddy.
Hold on, Michael.
I can pee.
Hold on. Now I'm putting the main line here on my spooling station. Okay, so you can see, well, you probably can't, but the knot is right here. Now I know where that magic marker is. That's the knot on the spool. So when you lay this knot down, you want to make sure, which this one's about perfect. Of course, you guys are not going to be able to see this, but I'm going to push that knot down a little bit. I like to kind of bury the knot in the line, just push it down with your nail. But you guys can see the knot right there, and the magic marker is on the other side, so the knots are across from each other. That's how you balance your spool. You don't want too much weight on the other side. Now if I had the magic marker, if it was like right here, that means this knot is stacked on top of the other one. It's too much weight on one side and your spool's not balanced, and you'll definitely hear that when you cast. So hopefully this video helps you guys out. Because I know it's hard to probably hard to see, but you guys probably get the idea. You just want your knots across from each other. So I'm going to finish spooling this up. Thanks for watching, guys. Talk to you soon.